They say you should never ever do grocery shopping when you're hungry, and that's the problem here. Is we just finished a brutal workout, and we're gonna run into Elroy's, which is a market here in Monterey, California. We're gonna grab our post-workout meals, like what we want, what Marcus Philly would eat specifically, what I would eat specifically, which are probably two slightly different things. We're gonna bring them back to the gym, and then we're gonna break them down and get a little bit more granular with why. So I've got Marcus Philly here. Big friend of mine, awesome dude. We'll talk a little bit more about that as we get rocking.
Let's go. Oh, look at the element counter they have here.
Yep, I know. I'm a big berry guy. So post-workout is my opportunity to get a bunch of fruit, break down why. I'm just gonna get a big one because I'll take the rest home. I love my blueberries.
I'm gonna go for something a little bit starchier. Let's see. I might find a banana. I might find something over here.
I'm also gonna get creative. I'm gonna talk a little bit about these beets, these pre-cooked beets. Awesome. You know, I know you're a big, you like your raw dairy and your good yogurt.
Yeah.
You've got some epic yogurts here. Not necessarily what you might eat post-workout, but like that sheep milk yogurt.
I love that brand.
Is amazing.
That right there is probably the best. These two options, that European style whole milk is like so good.
It's so good. It's so good. I'm gonna grab a small thing of the sheep milk yogurt.
Yep.
Because what I might do is sometimes, not always, but post-workout, sometimes I'll just take this, add like maybe a scoop of collagen or something like that, and just get a little more protein that way.
Nice. Just getting a lay of the land here. What do they got?
Got an awesome like prepared section too.
Yeah.
With, like for the chicken and protein and stuff. Some pretty lean pork loin there too.
I know.
I might do that. I might do just a nice big slice of lean pork loin.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna go with the chicken leg. And I actually like this a little bit with that particular
perfect
spice rub on it. Hey there.
What you were looking for?
I think so. Yeah. I'm gonna go with two of those chicken thighs and
The barbecue chicken thighs.
the barbecue chicken thighs, please. Yeah.
Yeah, appreciate it, dude. Do you follow Marcus at all?
I do actually.
Yeah, he's
yes.
awesome. Yeah, he's
cool.
so yeah, he's
Thanks for bringing him in.
oh for sure, man.
Yeah.
So awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Good to see you, brother.
Yeah,
You're
good
looking
to see you.
freaking awesome, dude.
Thank you. You too.
Trying, man. And I would just get one, just nice big thick slice of that pork loin. Yeah. No, let's do both of those pieces right there. Yeah. I'll explain more detail, but I like the pork because it's super lean. I like to treat it really lean after my workout. Increases that rate of digestion, so I'm not having the fat slow it down as much. I'm a big fan of honey in very small, specific amounts. Spare you the details for when we're in the gym. So let me find a nice, with the honeycomb. Some local Gilroy honey. A little pricey, but I'm not eating it that much. And honey, I am a fan of splurging on, getting the good stuff. It's funny, you grabbed the exact same.
Is that what you were going for?
Yes. So we've parted ways in the store here, but we're somehow ending up with similar things. And what he just grabbed was some of these brown rice thin stackers. Super high glycemic because the rice is puffed, but we'll explain that when we get back to the gym. Cool. I think that's it.
Pretty good.
Yeah, pretty straightforward.
Yep.
Do you like those epic bars? Are you a fan of those?
Yeah. I mean,
I don't eat them all the time, but
No, but
Yeah.
I've had them. They're pretty good.
good when you're
I
on the
really,
go.
what I love is those epic pork rinds on there.
Yeah, those
The
are
baked ones. Those things are
yeah.
solid.
Dude, you know why I love this store? They carry the best electrolyte in the world, this Element. 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams of potassium, 60 milligrams magnesium. It's my personal favorite electrolyte when it comes down to it. Awesome stuff. I usually start my day with that, whether I'm training or not. After today's video, check out Element. They are a really awesome electrolyte. Sodium, potassium, magnesium. 1,000 milligrams sodium, 200 milligrams potassium, 60 milligrams magnesium. I just did a 35-mile, 35-pound fasted ruck where I consumed nothing but Element electrolytes alongside a couple of really awesome people. I'll tell you, it kept me going. And the simplicity of it is we need those minerals and they have awesome tastes that make it fun, especially even when you're fasting and you're not eating and all you can consume is electrolytes. So I put a link down below so that you can get your Element, but also get a free sample pack whenever you make a purchase. So when you make that purchase, you can get that free sample pack and give that sample pack to some friends that maybe want to try all the different flavors. So that link is down below, drinklmnt.com/Thomas. That's drinklmnt.com/Thomas. Tip, go for the mango chili because it's my favorite. we got a crazy good workout. We went to the grocery store, got our post-workout food, but there's one very key difference between Marcus Philly and Thomas DeLauer. He likes to train in a fed state. I prefer training in a fasted state. So we should probably fight.
Definitely. Let's go.
It's a logical thing to do. No, but you ate a little bit of food before our workout.
I did,
So
yeah.
what did you have prior to working out?
Yeah, it's interesting because what we see here is pretty similar for what we're doing post-workout. We'll get into that in a minute. But before, I was up about 3 hours before we ended up training, and I wanted to get a little bit of fuel in my system. I opt for things like yogurt. I do a lot of dairy for my protein in the morning. So Greek yogurt, raw milk, maybe a little bit of whey protein as well. And then I'm getting some type of fruit for my carbohydrates. So I had an apple this morning, and I had a big thing of blackberries. And then additionally, I might throw in some nut butter. If I'm training maybe longer periods of time, like it's 3 hours or two and a half hours plus until I'm gonna train, I'll add in some almond butter. But if that window gets closer, maybe it's like within an hour and a half or 2 hours before I'm gonna train, I'll leave the nut butter out. But I find that if I have some nut butter earlier on, it just holds me over and I stay a little bit more satiated until training time.
Got it. And like the difference between I like to train fasted, a lot of it does come down to personal preference. So for me, I feel like I'm in it for the kill. Like I'm focused, like almost like the starvation hunter mode. I just feel like, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna earn some food. And a lot of it does come down to personal preference because the data is kind of split both ways. So if you're trying to figure out, should I train fasted, should I train fed? Good luck finding literature that supports one more than the other because it seems to be personal preference at the end of the day.
Yeah, and my preferences have changed over time, and I will go through periods where I'm a little bit more inclined to be fasted before my training and periods of time where I'm more inclined to be fed. And I think it's all about what gets you to show up and get your best performance in the gym. Yeah. And if you're thinking about food all throughout your workout because you're hungry and you're fasted, then that's going to distract you from getting the optimal training session in. But like you said, if you're fasted, you go into your workout and it's got you in that like kind of hunger kill mode, and you bring more intensity because of it, then that's a huge benefit.
Exactly. But what's funny is that regardless of that, our post-workout nutrition looks very similar. So go ahead and what have you got there? Maybe we'll start kind of one item at a time and go back and forth here.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I'll start with the rice crackers. I'm often thinking about getting most of my carbohydrates, or at least the really fast digesting, high glycemic carbohydrates right after I train. That's when my muscles and my body is most susceptible to having that uptake from those. So, something like rice or potatoes is what I usually go for. And these were the easiest, cleanest source of carbohydrate. It doesn't have anything else with it. It is literally just carbohydrates and rice.
Yep. And funny enough, I grabbed the same thing, and we both grabbed that not even knowing that. So it's kind of interesting. And people think, okay, a rice cake, first of all, that's a starch. That's not gonna be a fast-acting carbohydrate. And well, actually, when you puff rice, you take the starch molecules that are in that rice and you are injecting air into it through the puffing process, which separates the glucose molecules and actually breaks apart those polysaccharides and makes it so that it's quicker into a disaccharide, monosaccharide, so it breaks down really, really fast. So it actually becomes very high glycemic and gives you a quick insulin spike, which is actually a good thing after a workout. And I know a lot of people on my channel are low carb, so they're wondering well, how do you get away with this? Well, that's just the idea. Is people think sometimes high glycemic is bad. High glycemic is only bad if you don't come back down from it, as in you're insulin resistant or things like that. High glycemic can actually be good because then I'm compressing when I'm out of range. I like to, if I come out of glucose range, I want to do it for a finite amount of time.
Yeah.
This, I get a big, nice, clean spike, and then I come back down and I stay nice and low carb the rest of the day.
That's a great explanation, and part of the reason I think why I've intuitively gone to things like this after training.
Yeah. And cooking a red potato, heating a red potato or a white potato will do a very similar thing because the starch molecules in a potato, as you heat them, they expand.
Yeah.
And those glucose molecules become readily available. All right, then you've got some meat that's different than my meat. What's up there?
So historically, I used to always lean towards very lean, low-fat protein options post-workout. I didn't want fat to slow down my digestion. I thought that was the most important thing. And then over time, I realized, maybe that's not the most critical factor. And really, I want to be able to get a good meal in after workout that's got protein, got carbohydrates, but is also going to sustain me for a few hours so that I can actually go and do things productively, be mentally focused and go work or be with my family and not be thinking about food for the next hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, every other minute. So I got chicken thighs, which to me are just delicious. There was like a barbecue seasoning on there, which had some sugars in it, which is fine because it's right post-workout. And it's gonna get me the bolus of protein that I need to feel, to support my training and to feel satiated, through the next few hours.
No, it's beautiful. And to get nuancy, and this may or may not be the reason why he made the decision, but I can extrapolate data from that and say, okay, in my case, going into this workout fasted and ultimately finishing my workout with the exception of some watermelon that I had intra-workout, which I can explain a little bit, but essentially ending my workout or going into my workout pretty deeply fasted. Whoa, watermelon down. Oh well, bummer. So essentially going into my workout pretty deeply fasted, I am going to really try to keep my protein leaner post-workout. Now, if I had food prior to my workout, it wouldn't be as important to me, which is kind of interesting, the difference, and that's exactly what you have to pay attention to. If you eat before your workouts, it does potentially change things if you're paying attention to very little details like I like to do because it's just how I roll. But with this, it was fasted, so I'm like, I don't want to have a bunch of fat as like my first essential meal of the day.
Got it.
I want lean, quick absorbing protein. So in this case, what they had there was some pork loin that is really, really lean. Like there's some fat that's on it, but it's a ribbon of fat that I can just rip off and I can just go straight into the lean protein. So for me, that just makes sense in conjunction with this high glycemic carb. I'm getting a quick spike with quick absorbing protein, which doesn't matter a whole lot, but it does matter if I'm breaking my fast with my post-workout meal.
Got it.
So.
Yeah.
All right, you got some fruit.
And then some fruit. And this is kind of like typical for me is I like to keep the number of ingredients or the number of things that I'm eating at a meal pretty low. Like I never go above 5 things or 5 ingredients at a meal generally. And the reason for me is that like if I keep it simple with rice, chicken, and 1 or 2 pieces of fruit, that's 4 different things that I'm having. It allows me to know like, hey, how is this making my body feel? Yeah. Like if there's 10 things and you're like, man, I'm feeling bloated. Which of those 10 things was it, right? And this is something I coach a lot is keeping it really simple. 5 ingredient meals is something that I've talked about over the years, and it's just something that I practice regardless of the time of day. So I added a little bit of fruit. I like fruit. It's sweet. It's post-workout. This feels really dry. I'm thirsty, rehydrating, going for something. These are not the most like hydrating fruits that there are, but it's definitely appetizing and appealing to me. And it's another way to get some more carbohydrates post-workout.
And you inadvertently nailed something without even knowing that you're doing it. And that is a combination of glucose and fructose is actually really good post-workout, especially if you're low carb because you increase the uptake of the carbohydrates even faster because glucose, for example, like glucose that we'd be getting out of our rice cakes is going to absorb utilizing a different transporter. Okay, so it takes a different bus in terms of when it gets into your digestive system, it absorbs via a different transporter. Fructose absorbs via a different transporter. Okay, it goes directly into the portal vein and involves fructokinase 6 and some other enzymes. But what that means is we're working upon 2 independent pathways, so our rate of carbohydrate absorption effectively can double because we're not backlogging the transporter that's taking the glucose by overloading lots of glucose. We're giving some glucose and some fructose, so it actually absorbs that. So inadvertently, it does that, which I guess translates into, I've got some blueberries here. Reason I chose blueberries, very powerful antioxidant fruit, and the literature is a little bit inconclusive, but a lot of times it does demonstrate that having a small amount of antioxidants post-workout is actually quite good, especially if you're north of 40. The older that you get, you actually do want to have antioxidants post-workout because it can literally aid in recovery. Whereas when you're younger, buffering with a lot of antioxidants can actually hinder the adaptation. Now, it's splitting hairs, but I like the blueberries when it comes down to antioxidant density are the bee's knees, and that's definitely the jam there. So don't do a ton of them because the fiber is pretty rich there, so I'd like to kind of keep it a little quicker absorbing in my case.
Right on.
And you've got a little fruit, and the only other thing that I've got here is I grabbed some yogurt that I'm gonna have later. So because I had such a lean meal, I wanna get some fats in, but I don't wanna necessarily get them in with this meal. So I might put a little bit of honey on my rice cake for the same reason as, he's got a little bit more fruit there, same kind of deal. And then I'll have this yogurt a little bit later to get my fats in. But then one thing I wanna kind of talk about, if you're looking to get a little bit more increase in blood flow, beets are a really, really potent source of nitric oxide. So what that means is if you wanted to eat them pre-workout, get a pretty nice pump from them. If you want to eat them post-workout, it can potentially help with a little bit more blood flow. I like to feel like it's doing a lot, but it's probably negligible.
But they taste good, that's for sure.
They taste good.
Yep. And yeah, so thank you for adding those like extra points about, you know, the science behind what I'm doing here. I think I go by intuition, but I got a background in molecular science, and I know that there's some things over the years that I've picked up, and I've just habits that I've kept, probably from thinking about gluten and fructose transporters and optimizing carbohydrate uptake, but it's good to have reminders.
Yeah, totally. And you know what, I think one of the coolest things that has happened here, he mentions the, like, keeping it down to like 5 things in a meal. That is inadvertently sort of just the conversation we have about avoiding processed stuff. Because when you look at a bag of like processed chips or something, how many ingredients are in those chips?
Yeah.
And that's like, I feel like garbage. Well, okay, is it the tapioca starch? Is it the sugar? Is it, you could be eating one of these things.
Right.
So when you isolate variables like this, it makes it super easy.
Yeah, totally. Great.
Cool. Well, Marcus, where can everyone find you, man?
You can check me out on all the social media platforms and on YouTube at Marcus Philly. And yeah, that's where all the content that we're delivering is located.
And the little clips of the workout that we did earlier, you can all find all that stuff at his Instagram, but he's also going to have a video going up on YouTube with the full length workout. So as always, keep it locked in here on the channel. And Marcus, thanks, my man.
Thank you.
See you soon.